far.
The Pentagon has a heat ray. It's invisible, it's silent, it's real, but it's not deadly. Officially, it's called the Active Denial System. Here's how the military says it works. It shoots an invisible beam of intense electromagnetic waves at human targets that penetrate the skin about 1/64 of an inch deep. The beam creates what the military calls an intolerable heating sensation that makes people instinctively move away from the beam. The heat ray can reach a little more than half a mile away. Its creators say it's harmless and offers troops a non-lethal alternative during threatening confrontations. The Active Denial System can be used for crowd control, securing a perimeter, and protecting a convoy. This technology has been around for a while, more than a decade, but it's been keeping a low profile. The Marines have used it in training exercises. In 2012, the military said the heat ray was available for operations worldwide, but there were no current plans for deployment. In the future, the heat ray may go portable. The Pentagon wants to develop a smaller, lighter version, easier for troops to carry. Wider use of unconventional ideas like the heat ray may lead to more new weapons that protect troops without hurting civilians.
There are many reasons that people come to Abu Dhabi, but if you're in the defense industry, the biggest reason may be to attend the International Defense Exhibition known as IDEX. Officials from around the globe come here to buy the latest, most sophisticated weapons, defense systems, and military equipment on the market. Everything from high-powered assault weapons to Buk missile launchers. All of it's for sale. The timing of this year's exhibition is not lost on anyone. With the threat of ISIS spiraling out of control across the Middle East and North Africa, countries in those regions are expected to spend a lot more defending their people and protecting their nation. According to the Paramount Group, defense spending is expected to rise 12% up to $121 billion. Princes from the United Arab Emirates hosted dignitaries and defense contractors from 55 different countries, and the U.S. also sent a small contingent. The ambassador went, as well as the Undersecretary for Defense Acquisitions. China had a huge marketing presence. So did Russia, Turkey, as well as Sudan. Ukraine had a smaller booth and they had a lot less inventory. China sent a high-ranking delegation, as did France and a number of the Arab countries. The Emirati princes seemed extremely proud of their growing defense industries, spending a lot of time looking at weapons manufactured by their home team, a company by the name of Caracal. The UAE plans to spend $5 billion on equipment, including military satellites and mortars. According to Jane's magazine, that's the largest order ever placed at IDEX between local and overseas contractors. When I said to a vendor, it's amazing how many ways men can invent to kill each other, the vendor quickly corrected me and said, not kill, protect.
Saudi Arabia is the best funded armed force in the Middle East, with training and operational ties to the US, UK and France. According to the Institute of Strategic Studies, in 2014, the country's defense and security expenditure was $80.8 billion. That was 10% of the country's GDP and the third largest defense budget in the world. Its military force is made up of over 400,000 active members. The army is the largest single force with 225,000 troops, but Saudi Arabia also has a large 125,000 strong National Guard made up mainly of tribal-based militia. The national primary mission of this force was to protect the government from internal conflict, but their involvement in the liberation of Kuwait in the 1991 war and the re-establishing of security in Bahrain in 2011 showed that it can also be deployed as an external expeditionary force when the security of allied countries are threatened. Saudi Arabia also boasts a 30,000-person navy and an air force of equal size. The fleet comprises over 300 high-quality US-produced F-15 fighter planes, European-developed Tornadoes and Eurofighter Typhoons. The Saudi forces are also equipped with American-made AH-64 Apache helicopters, 442 M1A2 Abrams tanks, and has recently invested heavily in anti-tank missiles. The Saudi Strategic Missile Force also has seen heavy investment in recent years, equipped with Chinese-made DF-21 and DF-3 delivery systems built to launch long-distance, high-explosive warheads. Of all the main Arab players in the Middle East, the Saudi military is considered to be the best armed, benefiting greatly from funds gained through the country's vast oil wealth.
This stealthy U.S. fighter jet has been called the most expensive weapons system in the world. Price tag for Lockheed Martin's F-35 Lightning II program, $400 billion. More than 100 F-35s are currently being flight tested, and they're being built to do amazing things, like vertical takeoff and landing capability, a top speed of 1,200 miles an hour, the ability to fly as high as 50,000 feet, and a range of more than 1,300 miles on its internal fuel tanks. Advanced materials and a specifically designed airframe allow the F-35 to evade radar systems that could detect older U.S. fighters. The Pentagon started developing what would become the F-35 in the 1990s as a project to build one fighter for 3 military branches. Lockheed Martin was tapped to build the F-35 in 2001, rolling out the first production model 5 years later. Now the pressure's on for the plane to prove itself. It faces a deadline this year to be combat ready. F-35 development is already years behind schedule and millions over budget. Congress's independent watchdog unit, the Government Accountability Office, warned in April that the F-35, quote, has a long way to go to achieve its engine reliability goals. It will need, quote, design changes and retrofits. I'll point out the obvious here. This plane has one engine. So that engine has to be extremely reliable. But the GAO says the engine reliability is less than half of where it should be, and the manufacturer has identified design changes. Pratt & Whitney, which makes the F-35 engine, says the GAO, quote, incorrectly assessed engine reliability. The engine achieves and exceeds specification requirements. A 2014 engine fire briefly grounded all F-35s for nearly a month. More delays could force the military to keep using aging FA-18 Hornets and A-10 Thunderbolts. After over 100 planes have been delivered, it's up to Congress to decide whether to keep the money flowing to fund this pricey plane. Tom Patterson, CNN.
The helmet is transformational in terms of what it gives to the pilot and his situational awareness. He sees everything that's of concern to him on the ground, even to the point where he can look between his legs underneath the airplane and see all the way to the ground. It presents to him all the information that he used to have in a heads-up display in front of him in terms of aircraft attitude, airspeed, heading, and the parts that he needed to fly the airplane.